Hey, lacrosse fans, Scott Gabrielsen here. Welcome to another edition of the Philadelphia Wings Alumni Spotlight. Today I'm joined by Pat Heim, local Philadelphia kid, Wayne, PA, Conestoga High School, played 6 years for the Wings, Penn State grad. Pat, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
All right. Hey, I wanted to start off. Let's talk about your Wings experience coming out of Penn State, being a local guy, local kid that probably watched the Wings when you were young and kind of fueled some of the fire for lacrosse. Tell us about it.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I didn't start playing lacrosse until seventh grade ish. I was baseball all the way growing up. And then one day my brother came home with a stick, started playing, my older brother, and I was hooked. I mean, I was a football guy through and through, so a lot of transferable skills in terms of, making plays in the open field, the toughness, the grittiness, and just the creativity of it. And when I started playing, I think my first Wings experience, I had a good buddy of mine in middle school and high school, Steve Marino. He played at Lehigh. Um, Back when, before Conestoga Youth Lacrosse, it was two different Easttown Lacrosse Association. So we went down to a game, and I'll never forget. I think the first thing that flashes in my mind, I was thinking about this last night, knowing we had this call. I think the first thing I saw was that this big hippie with the dreadlocks running down the floor, and Tom Ryan,
Tom Ryan, yeah.
and I was like, who is this guy? And then, him playing, who else was playing? They had Dallas Elliott was the goalie at the time, making unbelievable saves. I think Berge was out there. Um, I'm thinking, I remember Tom Marechek was just like unbelievable superstar, the stick skills. I think I was just so attracted to the speed. I think the skill level was at an all-time high. I think the pick and roll and how physical they were in terms of throwing checks on guys' backs to set picks. I was just immediately, and then the music, right? And then it's just the overall experience. I was like, this is awesome. Like this is, if there's ever an opportunity for me to ever get to this level, like I would do it immediately. Those are my kind of early experiences of watching the Wings. And then I think when I got into high school, and I started kind of getting more and more into the game, I went down to some Wings games. And, then I started seeing guys like, the young Kyle Sweeney, right? Back when he was like a first, second year player on the team. I mean, Berge was still playing. I remember Tommy Slate, Mike Buzza. And what's funny is like, these are all guys that like I played against, like Tom Slate and Mike Buzza were head coaches at Radnor High School, who we played against in high school. So these guys got to coach against me when I was just a young guy, a freshman in high school, right? All the way through senior year. The circle of local alums who, gave back to the game and who I kind of looked up to and wanted to be, say one day, like I want to be like them, right? Play in the Wings, and have an impact in the community and get out and coach and take my knowledge and share it with everybody else. So that left a big impression on me.
Yeah, well, you had a great career at Penn State. You were a midi, right? Really a two-way midi that can't be a better position for an indoor player, right?
Right.
So talk about that. So then finally kind of get your dream. You have a great collegiate career at Penn State. Come to play for the Wings.
Yeah.
Talk about the first time you get your jersey. It says Heim on it, right?
Yeah, no,
Playing for the Philadelphia Wings.
yeah, so it's kind of a crazy story, right? So like, I didn't have the senior year I wanted at Penn State. I think I was a preseason second team All-American. I didn't live up to my expectations in terms of production. And just to kind of show you the disparity, right? Like I was, the number one overall pick in 2007 for the Major League Lacrosse draft. So that was a wild story in itself. If it was any other big platform sport, right? Like that could have been a 30 for 30 story because I initially wasn't invited to that combine. I got a late invite. I drive up to Long Island. I play out of my mind. I'm number one overall pick. I play the whole season for Chicago Machine. And then as soon as the season ends, I'm invited to the NLL combine in Denver. And I remember my brother was getting married that weekend. So I didn't go. And, I didn't even get drafted. So like I go from number one pick in the MLL, right? Outdoor player, college All-American, to no one even picking me up, right, for the NLL. And it just goes to show, like, that's very much a Canadian game. Like, there's a specific person that they're kind of looking for. I think I had the athletic ability. I knew I could play. So I never forget my experience was I got a phone call from a guy named Dave Huntley, and legend in the game, rest in peace. Same with Chris Sanderson, legend in the Canadian game. Both guys who I really looked up to. But Dave called me and was like, "Hey, we're trying to shake some things up here. I'm the new head coach. I want to invite you to camp. We're kind of changing the model a little bit, right?" I think he was trying to kind of bring a different methodology to the game of box lacrosse, where it was more really heavy pick and roll, heavy, slowing the ball down and really running the motion. But he wanted to play like a run and gun style offense where, from defense to offense, where he was looking for really athletic guys. And I fit that mold exactly, right? So
Yeah, you did.
I had the body type, to your point. I could play offense and defense. I could move my feet. I could hit people. I could mark people up. So he brought me in. I went through training camp, and I remember just like day one in training camp, I get a nasty back pick from Jake Berge. He practically ran me over. I felt like a linebacker. It's just, I felt
Welcome
like
to the NLL.
it was Bill Berge living through him in a body check. I was just like, oh my God, like this is what I felt like. And I'll never forget like getting through camp and the scrimmages and the exhibition games. And he grabbed me and he was like, you're on the team. You're going to play this weekend. And I was like, oh my God, like this is amazing. Thanks so much. He's like, don't thank me. Just play well. And I was like, okay.
Good
So,
job.
and then so like, I remember, I'll never forget just going in the locker room, jersey hung up, putting it on, and then just like waiting in the tunnel to run out, and I remember they, just like your intro today was just like, number 25, Pat Heim, Wayne, Pennsylvania, Conestoga High School, Penn State, and the place just went nuts. And I was just like, this is like, it was an incredible experience. So that was, and then I scored a goal in my game opener. I think Kyle Sweeney grabbed the game ball, gave it to me. It was cool. It was just
That's
like
so great.
real experience. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you were a local fan favorite. You were a kid that grew up and ended up living a childhood dream. And how
Yeah.
about the fans? Talk about the Philadelphia Wings fans. I mean, there's still some of the faithful are at every game to this day. Fans that cheered me on back in the
Yeah.
late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. I think growing up here and kind of embracing the Philly sports fan and what they're all about, right? Just people who they want players who just go out there and ball out, play hard, win or lose. You're just giving it all you got. I think the tradition of after the game, especially after win, running around the glass, banging on the glass, waving to the fans. I think that was something I remember also kind of resonating with me. Just like it's the fans, right? It's like these are the players giving it to them to say like it's because of you guys that we're out here and we're providing this awesome experience. And so
Thank you.
yeah, the thank you to everybody. And I think like that's something that I'll never forget was just like you play a hard fought game, you win a close game. They all felt close, right? You're just battling constantly. And I think, then afterwards tipping your hat to them to say like, thank you for coming. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for bringing the energy. And they're the best, right? And so, growing up in that environment, with, the Eagles, the Flyers, the Sixers, and the amount of just passion there is for guys who want to give it their all to the city, being a part of that as an athlete is special, right? And so yeah.
Nothing better. Now you're also one of the guys that has taken lacrosse and then, the lessons learned there as a teammate and have taken it into business.
Right.
Tell us what you're doing now. And besides being a new dad,
Yeah.
with your young kids running around.
Yeah. So I've been in sales since college, right? Since I graduated. So I've kind of moved around in different industries. I was in med device early when I got out. Then I actually worked for STX Lacrosse. So I was in, when I was playing pro and, selling lacrosse sticks to retailers. And then I obviously got into commercial real estate. You hired me. And I worked in real estate for almost about 4 years, which taught me a lot about just, really getting out there and, going through the tough part of what sales brings to the table. And you got to have an athlete mindset when you're in sales, right? And it's not always going to be a yes, right? You're going to get a lot of no's, you're going to get a lot of failure, but you got to just be resilient and gritty and bounce back up and just go after the next opportunity. So I've transitioned into tech sales. So I'm in the software segment. I'm selling quality management systems for Honeywell. So I basically focus, I would say, mostly around the life sciences segment. So we help companies who manufacture drugs and med devices, basically stay compliant with the FDA regulations through a quality management system. So that's what I'm doing now. And it's very much a team sale, right? So you got to bring in multiple people and stakeholders within the company to put together a solution for the customer, right? So you got to be able to communicate that. We're the ones quarterbacking the deal, right? So you kind of have to lay all the people together, understand the problems that the customer's having, articulate it to everybody in the team, and go after it with like a solution approach. So being on a team, playing sports my whole life, I certainly embrace what that is and how I can bring that skill set to my customers as well as the people I work with. So it's definitely helped me.
So great. So great. Well, you've proven it. You've been successful on the field, off the field, and now, leading your clients today. Just you're one of the great wings, local kid that made it big time. So can't thank you enough for joining us. Pat's going to be signing autographs at halftime of this weekend's game against Buffalo. So Pat Heim, I want to thank you for joining us, and we'll see you this weekend.
All right. Thanks, Gabe. Go Wings. Thanks,
Go
man.
Wings.
Take it easy.